The object of my arranged marriage harbors a disdain for children, compelling me to resort to medication after each encounter. Yet, despite my precautions, I found myself ensnared in an unexpected predicament. I scheduled an appointment for a discreet termination, only to have him stumble upon my pregnancy test results. A tremor of fear coursed through me. "I'm sorry, I've already arranged for the procedure. Rest assured I will handle it," I assured him. His eyes glistened with unshed tears as he gazed at me. "Do you truly wish to rid yourself of the baby so fervently?" he queried. "Is it as simple as saying no and that's it?" I was taken aback. Wasn't it he who didn't desire a child? It is often said that alphas are unrestrained during their sensitive periods. Fortunately, Shang-Yen has been relatively gentle throughout our year of marriage. He has not inflicted upon me excessive discomfort during such times. After tending to me, he retreated to the bathroom that I deftly slid out of bed and opened the lowest drawer, retrieving the pills to swallow. Although Shang-Yen had been considerate lately, he frequently neglected to take precautions. To be on the safe side, I opted to take the medication. After all, it was best not to complicate matters, given his aversion to children. "What are you taking?" he inquired. Startled, I instinctively returned the pills to their place and closed the drawer. Meeting his calm gaze, I felt a wave of guilt wash over me. "Just vitamin C," I replied. He nodded, lifting me back to the bed and wrapping his arms around me. The scent of mint enveloped me. He held me tightly, unconsciously nuzzling my neck. I was aware that alphas in their sensitive phases are particularly perceptive, with heightened needs. As a dutiful partner in this marriage, it was imperative for me to attend to my alpha's desires. I turned to face him, leaning in to plant a kiss on his lips. "Do you want more?" "I can offer that," I proposed. His eyes darkened momentarily, yet he restrained himself, closing his eyes. He held me even closer, whispering, "Rest now, Xiaoku." A sense of deflation washed over me, accompanied by an inexplicable twinge of regret. A year into our marriage, aside from his sensitive periods, he seldom initiated intimacy. Even during those times, his demands were never excessive. At times, I wondered if my allure was lacking. Perhaps if not for his sensitive phase, he would not require my assistance at all. However, I remained silent, recognizing my role as a mere pawn in this union. I drifted into a peaceful slumber. The following morning, I awoke to the sensation of Shang-Yen kissing my face. This was a customary habit of his during his sensitive periods. Still drowsy, I turned away from him, arching my neck to expose my glands. "You may bite," I suggested, though I suspected he would restrain himself, as he always did. With that thought, I succumbed to sleep once more. Yet, the sudden sensation of my glands being pierced jolted me awake. The minty pheromones enveloped me, warmth radiating from my glands throughout my body. My hand instinctively clenched, my nails digging into my palm. Shang-Yen gently pried my fingers apart, intertwining them with his. I remained in a daze until he finally withdrew his teeth from my gland. To make matters more complicated, we both felt the effects. "Xiaoku, I'm in distress," he confessed. It was rare for him to express discomfort during his sensitive periods. If he was articulating such feelings, it signified he was truly overwhelmed. I pressed closer to him, the mingling scents of lemon and mint swirling around us. The mint overpowered the lemon's fragrance. Afterward, Shang-Yen took my discarded clothes to wash. I glanced at the garments in his hands, feeling somewhat uneasy. "You really don't have to go through this trouble," I said. With a calm demeanor, he continued to wash my clothes, his expression unwavering. "Intimate garments are best washed by hand," he replied. I felt my cheeks flush with embarrassment and hurriedly left the bathroom. As I walked to the bedside to retrieve the medication I intended to swallow, just as the pill was about to touch my lips, Shang-Yan's hand reached out from behind me, snatching the remaining pills from my grasp. "What is this medication? Chinku? Didn't you say it was vitamin D?" My fingers fidgeted nervously, and as I was about to swallow the pill, Shang-Yen directly intervened, extracting it from my mouth. I quickly attempted to explain I haven't been cautious lately, and I feared that. I faltered, unable to continue, for the intensity of Shang-Yan's gaze was unnervingly dark. I had never witnessed such a look from him before. Although I considered taking medication a trivial matter, it was wise not to provoke him at this moment. I averted my eyes, filled with an inexplicable guilt. Shang-Yen carelessly tossed the pills into the nearby trash bin and removed all the medication from the cabinet. "These should be taken sparingly. They are detrimental to your health," he remarked before leaving the bedroom. I called after him, "What about your sensitive period?" Without turning back, he simply replied, "I have brought suppressants." I sat dazedly on the edge of the bed, bewildered by Shang-Yan's sudden anger. The prospect of an unplanned pregnancy would indeed be the worst scenario. Although I was uncertain, I felt that soothing him would be the best course of action. I pulled out my phone to send him a message. Shang Yan, have you gone to the office? I'll come to pick you up after work today. Will you have the blackbone chicken soup for lunch? I can bring it to you. Shang Yan did not respond. It was rare for him to overlook my messages. I felt a surge of anxiety. If this had been at the beginning of our marriage, I would never have dared to disturb him further. However, this past year his patience had emboldened me. Shang Yan, please reply to me. I'm feeling unwell. Almost immediately his call came through. A smile spread across my face. What's bothering you? Did I go too far this morning? Before I could say anything, he continued, I'll take you to the hospital. I quickly interrupted, no need. Just respond to me, and I won't feel unwell anymore. Shang Yan fell silent on the other end. After a long pause, he finally spoke, pouting, won't help. I knew he was no longer angry. Will you have the chicken soup? I can bring it to you. All right. I felt a surge of joy and, after hanging up, proceeded to prepare the ingredients. As for the medication, I could purchase it later. Shang Yan's anger stemmed solely from his concern for my health. I simply needed to remind him to be cautious in the future. At noon, I chose to stay at Shang Yan's office rather than return home, as we were to dine at his parents' house that evening. Upon our arrival, his mother, Zhou Huijun, peeked around the corner. Upon seeing me, she joyfully approached and ushered me to the sofa. Xiaoke, I've missed you so much. Even after a year of marriage, I still felt somewhat overwhelmed by Zhou Huijun's warmth. It was clear that my union with Shang Yan was primarily a business arrangement, yet she treated me with a familiarity that eased my tension. You look well. Your complexion is much better than when you first married Xiao Yan, she noted with a gentle smile. I returned her sentiment with a soft smile, fully agreeing with her observation. Despite the nature of our marriage, I was sincerely grateful to them. I was unsure what had attracted them to the Qin family, but this marriage had rescued me from despair. Had it not been for Shang Yan, I might have been sold off by my father to another. Shang Yan had approached me, dignifiedly offering a union that liberated me. In the early days, my health had been frail, often requiring hospitalization, yet Shang Yan had cared for me diligently for a year, nursing me back to health. Zhou Huijun had also prepared traditional herbal remedies, urging me to take them. Thus, regardless of circumstances, I held deep respect for them. She playfully pinched my arm and cheek, and I obediently lowered my head as she affectionately ruffled my hair. Good health is of utmost importance. I faced great difficulties when giving birth to Xiao Yan, she reminisced, her eyes sparkling. Speaking of which, when will you two have a chubby little one? I was taken aback and instinctively glanced at Shang Yan. His expression was inscrutable, and I suddenly recalled that he was not fond of children. Fearing it might put him in an awkward position, I interjected, Mom, we're still young. Such matters should be left to fate. Zhou Huijun patted my hand reassuringly. True, I was just speaking whimsically. Don't take it to heart. I nodded while stealing glances at Shang Yan, noticing his demeanor darkening. I bit my lip, realizing that discussions about children seemed to displease him. After dinner, we chatted with his parents for a while before returning home. However, he was unusually clingy today, a departure from his usual demeanor, and I found it somewhat overwhelming. Breathing heavily, I asked, what's going on with you today? Shang Yan remained silent, simply lowering his head to kiss me. I endeavored to match his movements, yet he failed to take precautions once again, and I neglected to remind him. Given his mood, I thought it best to let him proceed as he wished. I reasoned that missing a single dose of medication might not be consequential. One should not harbor a sense of complacency. I stared at the pregnancy test report in my hands, feeling a sense of panic as I grappled with the realization of my condition. Nervously clutching the report, I was at a loss for what to do. After a moment of chaotic thoughts, I resolved to terminate the pregnancy. The 2 to 8 week window post-conception is deemed the most suitable for such procedures, so I scheduled an appointment for surgery in a month. The doctor, noticing I was alone, kindly cautioned, where is your partner? It's best to discuss matters like this together. I shook my head, steadfast in my decision to proceed with the appointment. We've already discussed it, and besides, he doesn't like children. After leaving the hospital, I felt somewhat disoriented, my hand occasionally resting on my flat abdomen. It was hard to believe that a life was already beginning to form within me. Instinctively, a wave of sweetness surged within my heart. This was my child with Shang Yan. If only he were fond of children, he would make the most wonderful father. Yet, I regretted that this had come to be by accident, leading to this predicament. Lost in thought, my phone rang, and it was Shang Yan. "Xiaoke, has the event concluded? I'll come to pick you up." Reflexively, I declined, holding the report. "No need. I'm already on my way home." There was a brief silence on the other end before Shang Yan inquired, "What's wrong? Are you feeling down?" I was puzzled as to how he could discern my mood from my mundane response. However, I had no desire to worry him or reveal my pregnancy. "I'm fine, just a bit tired." He did not press further but advised me to be cautious. Before entering the house, I cautiously tucked the report and surgery appointment slip back into my bag. Gathering my composure, I opened the door, finding Shang Yan seated on the sofa, waving me over. As I approached, he pulled me onto his lap. He kissed me gently. "What's the matter, baby?" Shang Yan only calls me baby when he is trying to coax me. I couldn't help but smile. Was my expression that obvious? "It's nothing truly," I replied, resting my head on his shoulder and allowing my thoughts to drift away. I didn't want to dwell on it as it only gave me a headache. He gently patted my head, allowing me to lean against him. After a year of companionship, I could sense that Shang Yan indeed harbored feelings for me. Although we had bypassed the dating phase and went straight to marriage, my affection for him had undeniably grown over the past year. Yet, I remained uncertain whether his feelings stemmed from a sense of obligation or genuine affection, and I dared not inquire. Asking too many questions could yield unfavorable results. However, if he truly loved me, would he also be open to the idea of having children? "What are you thinking about?" he asked. I blinked in surprise, hastily changing the subject. "Your sensitive period is approaching." Shang Yan's sensitive period was indeed nearing. However, I felt a wave of anxiety wash over me, for there was another life growing within me, and I was hesitant to act recklessly. Yet, I struggled to find a way to explain this to Shang Yan. Without my reassurance, he would undoubtedly suffer. I unconsciously caressed my belly. Shang Yan leaned closer, wrapping his arms around me. "Why do you keep touching your stomach? Is something wrong?" I instinctively withdrew my hand. Yet, he reached out, slipping his hand beneath my clothing, his warm palm resting gently on my abdomen. I pressed down on his hand. The sensation was utterly peculiar. Shang Yan chuckled. "At last, there's some flesh on your belly. It's about time after all this nurturing." I lowered my gaze to his hand, feeling a mix of emotions. Perhaps it was a way to greet our little one. Lost in thought, I smiled, but when I caught Shang Yan's gaze, my smile faded instantly. I recognized that look all too well, and he did not conceal it. He laid me back onto the sofa, kissing me fervently. It wasn't long before the scent of mint pheromones filled the air, and I suddenly realized something was amiss. Shang Yan's sensitive period had arrived prematurely. A chill ran through my thighs, and fear gripped me. "No," I pushed against him. Shang Yan furrowed his brow, lifting me and carrying me toward the bedroom. "Not here. Then we shall go to the room." Even as I lay on the bed, I continued to resist him. No matter how restrained he tried to be, he would not allow me to reject him at such a time. He bit down on my gland, releasing pheromones, and my body weakened, the strength to resist slipping away. Yet, reason told me I must not give in. "Shang Yan, please no. My health is poor. The doctor said it's not advisable." Shang Yan froze, gently stroking my face before rolling over to retrieve the suppressant from the cabinet, plunging it into his body with urgency. "Don't cry. Just step outside for a moment." Seeing Shang Yan in distress, guilt surged within me. He stroked my hair and pushed me out. Even through the door, I could imagine the torment he was enduring. I had witnessed him lose control during his sensitive periods before. When we had just married, he would lock himself in his room during each sensitive period, disregarding my assurances that I could handle it. Only when my health improved did he allow me to help him through those moments. After quite some time, I realized he had unlocked the door. I hurriedly pushed it open, scanning the room for him, but he was nowhere to be found. A pile of clothes lay on the bed, all mine. Shang Yan was nestled within the heap, silent. I quickly began to sift through the clothing, only to be pulled in by him. He embraced me, his teeth grazing my gland. "I'm sorry." His voice was hoarse. "Why are you apologizing?" I found myself at a loss for words. He shifted slightly and produced 2 reports. "Is this why? You're pregnant." In that moment, I noticed my bag had been opened, revealing my pregnancy test results, which Shang Yan must have stumbled upon while making his nest. My face turned pale, and I reached for the report, my heart sinking. If Shang Yan knew about the pregnancy, would he seek a divorce? I trembled and quickly explained. I'm sorry, it's my fault. But don't worry, I have scheduled a procedure. I will handle it. As soon as I finished speaking, Xiang Yan's eyes glistened with unshed tears, his voice trembling. Do you really not want the baby? Our child can simply be disregarded? I was taken aback. Was it not he who did not want children? Now I finally recognized a possible misunderstanding. What? Yet, it was clear that Xiang Yan was not in the mood to listen. He seized a piece of clothing and dashed out of the house. He left in such haste that I could not catch up. He did not answer my calls or respond to my messages. Adding to my concern was the fact that he was in his sensitive period. My worry escalated. Throughout the night, Xiang Yan did not return home. Desperate, I called his parents. Xiao Yan? No, he hasn't come home. What's wrong, Xiaoku? Did you two have a fight? I could not find him anywhere, nor could I reach him. Panic surged within me, my voice trembling. Upon hearing my distress, Zhou Huijuan's tone shifted sharply. I heard her banging on doors in the background. Xiang Yan, you little rascal, didn't you say it's no big deal? What have you done to make Xiaoku cry? Xiaoku is the one you begged to marry. How could you upset her this badly after just a year? Get back here right now. Before long, the call was answered by Xiang Yan's deep voice. What's wrong? I steadied my breath, deciding it was best to discuss matters face to face. Shall I come to pick you up? I'm not coming back. His rejection was unequivocal, and it pierced my heart, but I remained concerned about his sensitive period. You're still in your sensitive period. Xiang Yan interrupted me. I have the suppressant. I fell silent, too afraid to speak further. The atmosphere grew tense, both of us remaining quiet. I hesitated to hang up, finding solace in his voice. Then, Xiang Yan broke the silence. Do you have anything you wish to say to me? I instinctively recalled the pregnancy report, the very catalyst of our conflict. In the silence that stretched for a few seconds, he hung up. Listening to the dial tone, I slumped against the sofa, uncertain of what to do. What was Xiang Yan truly feeling? After all, it was true he did not like children. Or was he angry that I had concealed my pregnancy from him? I absent-mindedly caressed my belly. Hadn't everything already improved? How had I managed to complicate matters once more? I grabbed my car keys, resolved to go find him. It seemed Xiang Yan anticipated my intentions, sending me a message. Don't come for me. I'm not leaving. Xiang Yan behaved like a petulant child, seeking solace from his parents when feeling wronged. Regrettably, his parents did not side with him. Once his sensitive period passed, Zhou Huijun could no longer tolerate it. She promptly expelled Xiang Yan from their home, insisting he could not return until he resolved his issues. Upon returning home, Xiang Yan acted as he always had, gentle and caring. Yet, he would often find himself lost in thought, staring blankly at my belly. Moreover, every time I broached the subject of children, he would awkwardly evade the conversation. This dissonant atmosphere did not go unnoticed by Xiang Yan's parents. During another family gathering, Xiang Yan's father called him into the study for a discussion. Zhou Huijun took my hand, her tone soothing as she engaged in casual conversation. Xiaoku, has Xiao Yan been making things difficult for you? I've noticed you haven't looked well lately. I shook my head. No, he treats me wonderfully. Zhou Huijun glanced at me, lightly patting my hand. She urged me to relax and not to feel anxious. I don't wish to meddle in the affairs of the younger generation, but you are all my children, and I sincerely hope for your well-being. Over the past year, I've noticed that you all have developed feelings for one another, but if you find yourself struggling, do not hesitate to speak up. I was somewhat bemused. How did this lead to thoughts of marital discord? I quickly clarified, no, we are doing well, and I have a great fondness for Xiang Yan. Zhou Huijuan's eyes sparkled with relief. That's good to hear. Xiao Yan is quite fond of you too. He insisted on marrying you. This revelation surprised me. While a business alliance with the Chen family was not unusual, the insistence on marrying me was unexpected, especially since the Chen family did not hold significant value at that time. I had never imagined that our union would be a result of Xiang Yan's desires. He requested that. Zhou Huijun was taken aback by my reaction. Did that rascal not mention it to you? He liked you even before marriage, and it's astonishing that after a year, he hasn't revealed anything to you. Upon hearing this, I felt as though I were sitting on pins and needles. I had always believed that our relationship was merely a business arrangement, blossoming into affection over time, but I had no idea he had known and liked me all along. Did he witness my earlier awkwardness? I recalled the times my father pressured me to meet with business associates, forcing me to drink until I was nauseated, and the inescapable, lecherous gazes directed at me. I was unworthy of any qualification for a union, merely regarded as a plaything. My father cared little for me as his son. He only sought to exploit me for gain. Therefore, I believe any misunderstandings between you should be resolved promptly, as emotions cannot withstand prolonged neglect. I licked my lips. Mom, it's not about feelings. Then what is it? Zhou Huijun asked, now perplexed. Is he bankrupt? That shouldn't be the case. Zhou Huijun's imagination had run wild. Learning that Shang Yan had liked me for a long time, an uncontrollable thought surged within me. Might he, because of his affection, also cherish the idea of having a child with me? Mom, I will handle it well. Please don't worry. On the way home, I discreetly glanced at Shang Yan several times, opening my mouth to inquire but hesitating. He, however, sensed my unease. At a red light, he reached over and pinched my ear. What's wrong? Are you feeling unwell? I noticed the ring on his hand, which he had hardly removed since putting it on. Suddenly, I felt a wave of relaxation wash over me. Yan, I realize I haven't told you this. I love you. Shang Yan turned his head abruptly to look at me. I pointed at the traffic light. The green light is coming. With no other option, Shang Yan focused on driving. Yet I could not disregard the tension in his lips and the veins bulging in his hands. Once the car was parked, he didn't wait to get home. He unfastened my seatbelt and pulled me onto his lap. What did you just say? Repeat it. I cupped his face, nuzzling his nose and planting a gentle kiss on his lips. I said I love you. As soon as the words left my mouth, I was pulled back into his embrace. He held my lips captive, slowly invading my senses. Even in the heat of passion, Shang Yan maintained a firm grip on my waist, careful not to press against my abdomen. As we caught our breath, I leaned close to his ear and whispered, "You like me, don't you? You've liked me for a long time." Shang Yan's voice was low and muffled. I felt a surge of confidence. After a moment's hesitation, I continued, "What about the child?" Shang Yan's eyes suddenly glistened with unshed tears. He turned his face away, his hand tightening around my waist. "You can decide whatever you wish. I just want you to tell me if something is bothering you. After all, it's our child." I hesitated before adding, "Can our child also be cherished?" The moment those words escaped my lips, Shang Yan's eyes grew even more misty. "Who wouldn't he love our child? If you don't want it, you should tell me. How can you just decide without a word? Moreover, even if you don't want it, how could I let you undergo the procedure alone, without anyone by your side?" I was rendered speechless, unable to respond for a long time. Seeing my silence, Shang Yan grew anxious and frustrated. "I will accompany you on the day of the procedure. Who would not desire a child? Me?" I poked Shang Yan and said in a muffled tone, "Aren't you the one who doesn't like children?" His expression shifted from confusion to shock, and finally to irritation. He pinched my cheek with a bit more force. "I don't like children? I would love for us to have a child. Where did you hear that I don't like children?" I recoiled slightly, suddenly lacking the courage to argue. Shang Yan had never explicitly stated that he disliked children or did not want them. Yet, during the months following our marriage, I had inadvertently overheard him chatting with friends about the topic of children. He had frowned and said, "We can't have children." Since then, I had assumed Shang Yan was not fond of children and did not wish for us to have any, especially since our union was merely a business arrangement that could end at any moment. Shang Yan looked utterly distressed. His face was sorrowful. "We almost lost our child." It turned out that when Shang Yan previously mentioned not being able to have children, it was in response to a friend's inquiry about when he planned to have kids. At that time, I was often unwell and in poor health. Shang Yan was reluctant to see me hurt. He believed that such matters could be considered in the future. With red-rimmed eyes, he gazed at me, filled with lament. "You were unwell back then. I didn't even dare to touch you during your sensitive period, let alone think about having children." I remained silent, pursing my lips. Shang Yan gently rubbed my cheek with his thumb. "I don't blame you. It's my fault for not providing you with enough security, making you think so much." He lowered his head, resting it on my abdomen, then looked up at me again. The baby kicked me. I felt a mix of amusement and exasperation, pushing his head away. "The baby is so small. Don't say such things." After spending too much time in the car, I urged him to hurry home. That night, he was unusually elated, all the previous gloom dissipating. I patted him as he continued to fidget. "It's time to sleep. It's quite late." Shang Yan faced me, his hand tightly gripping mine beneath the covers. I allowed him to lead, no longer minding his antics. Since becoming pregnant, I had developed a tendency to sleep deeply and wake up later. Today, I miraculously woke up a bit earlier, only to find Xiang Yan's absence beside me. I got up to freshen up, but as I approached the bathroom, I heard the sounds of heavy breathing from within. Instantly, I realized what Xiang Yan was doing. Reflecting on it, he hadn't touched me since my pregnancy began. Yet, desires are a natural human condition. I pushed the door open, meeting Xiang Yan's gaze filled with longing.
Xiao Keskivico.
He awkwardly turned his head away, starting to tidy himself up. I approached and took hold of his hand. Let me help you. Xiang Yan resisted my assistance. Don't mess around. I'm fine. I crouched down, ignoring his protests. I can help you like this. Xiang Yan looked down at me, no longer refusing my help. A hint of regret crossed his face as he said, You don't need to do this in the future. I shook my head with a smile. It's all right. I'm willing to. I watched as his ears turned increasingly red. It was rare to see him flustered. Most of the time, he exuded confidence in front of me. I found it intriguing. Since we had clarified our feelings, I had noticed many different sides to him. Charming and endearing. I kissed the corner of his mouth. In the future, if anything is bothering you, please tell me. You don't have to bear it alone. Xiang Yan could no longer endure it and rubbed his face vigorously. Stop talking. Xiaoku. I dropped a bombshell. Don't be shy, dear husband. Then, I merrily exited the bathroom, disregarding the nearly explosive Xiang Yan. Soon, Xiang Yan's parents learned of the pregnancy. With the perceptiveness of Zhou Huijun, she quickly deduced that our previous quarrel was due to the child. As soon as we arrived home, she seized Xiang Yan by the ear. So, it's you who doesn't want the baby, huh? Xiang Yan, while attempting to push Zhou Huijun's hand away, cried out in pain, which tugged at my heartstrings. I hurriedly intervened. Mom, you're mistaken. A Yan is very fond of babies. Zhou Huijun paused for a moment, releasing her grip on Xiang Yan, and then gently patted my hand. Well, I think you both are still young, so there's no need to rush into having a child. I felt embarrassed and looked to Xiang Yan for help. He took his mother aside. All right, Mom, stop worrying unnecessarily. We're doing well, and the baby is too. Zhou Huijun's expression brightened, and she immediately ordered a plethora of materials, claiming she would personally knit clothes for the baby. I didn't hinder her enthusiasm, and the thought of the baby growing up in such a loving family filled me with immense gratitude. Xiang Yan snuggled closer and playfully complained, pointing at his ear. Look, my ear is all red from being pulled, and you don't even feel sorry for me. Zhou Huijun shot him a glare. Stop pretending. Xiang Yan, undeterred by his mother's disdain, held my hand and continued to touch his ear. Zhou Huijun finally couldn't bear to watch any longer and moved to another room, ignoring us. Yet, Xiang Yan was insistent. Upon returning home, he demanded compensation for the injury to his ear. I gritted my teeth and pushed him away, feeling exasperated. Didn't you say before that it was fine if I did nothing? Xiang Yan pressed his forehead against mine, choosing to ignore me. I closed my eyes, resigning myself to his antics. I'll apply some medicine. I promptly punched him. It's all your fault. My leg is scraped. Xiang Yan adopted a pitiful expression, gazing at me. But you're pregnant, so I can only act like this. I attempted to kick him, but he caught my foot in his hand, skillfully lowering his head to apologize.
I'm sorry, Xiao baby.
I was completely out of patience, perhaps because I could never truly be angry with Xiang Yan. I scrolled through my appointment messages on my phone. You'll accompany me to the hospital tomorrow. Xiang Yan abruptly raised his head, a look of vigilance on his face. What do you need to go to the hospital for? I replied matter-of-factly, for a prenatal checkup. Aren't you coming with me? Xiang Yan let out a sigh of relief, capped the medicine bottle, and climbed into bed, holding me close. I understood his apprehensions and gently patted the back of his hand. What are you thinking? Just sleep. During this prenatal checkup, I encountered the same doctor as last time. He glanced at Xiang Yan beside me, a hint of amusement on his face. Are you not busy this time? I smiled shyly while Xiang Yan wrapped his arm around my waist. The doctor said little else and handed me a checklist for the examination. Midway through, Xiang Yan went to the restroom, and I sat on a chair outside waiting for him. Suddenly, a figure sprang out from beside me, grabbing my wrist. Xiaoku, it's you, I senti it? The individual had disheveled hair and a haggard complexion. My expression instantly changed, and a wave of physiological discomfort washed over me. Chun Bowen, my biological father. He gripped my hand tightly, preventing me from breaking free. It's me, Xiaoku, it's Dad. I furrowed my brow, trying to shake off his hand. However, his grip was too tight, and I dared not move too violently for fear of harming the child. But the rusty scent of Chun Bowen's pheromones overwhelmed me, making me feel nauseous. Memories of being beaten by him and being unable to rise under the weight of his pheromones flooded back. Chun Bowen seemed mentally unstable, his gaze vacant. Xiaoku, Dad has no money left. You married Shang Yan, right? He must have plenty of money. You should give some to Dad. I suppressed my disgust and fought the urge to vomit as I pried his fingers off my wrist. Chun Bowen, unwilling to let go, laughed and cried. Dad is sick. You're my child. You should help me get better. I need money. I need money. Give me money. Nearby medical staff noticed something was amiss and approached us, placing themselves between us. Chun Bowen ignored them, still trying to reach for me. My hand was quickly grasped by the returning Shang Yan, who pulled me tightly into his embrace. Upon seeing the prenatal checkup form in Shang Yan's hand, Chun Bowen suddenly erupted in maniacal laughter. You're still pregnant? That's wonderful. This way you'll never be apart from me. You'll provide me with money for a lifetime. I couldn't help but dry heave. Shang Yan's expression instantly turned cold. He gently patted my back to soothe me, then turned back to Chun Bowen. Mr. Chen, I believe I made myself quite clear. Chun Ku will have nothing to do with you once she enters the Shang family. That sum of money was sufficient for you to save your company. What you chose to do with it is no concern of ours, but you should not harass Chun Ku. After saying this, Shang Yan called for security, no longer paying attention to Chun Bowen. As Chun Bowen was taken away, I unexpectedly smiled at him. You see, even with a pregnancy, you couldn't keep Mom. Witnessing the fury etched on Chun Bowen's face brought me a sense of satisfaction. Shang Yan held me protectively, the familiar minty scent of his pheromones calming me. It's all right, I'm here. Initially, I thought I had moved on from the past. However, during the night, as I drifted to sleep, I found myself submerged in nightmares, unable to awaken as if I were drowning. I dreamt of my mother's cold gaze, of my father's slaps, and of the scrutinizing looks that treated me like an object. I struggled to breathe. Baby? Shang Yan's voice resonated in my ear. I jolted awake, and upon seeing his face, my racing heart gradually calmed. Shang Yan didn't rush to speak. He gently patted my back, pouted. I don't blame Mom. This seemingly nonsensical statement went unchallenged by him. He quietly echoed my words, responding to everything I said without questioning or contradicting, simply releasing his familiar pheromones to stabilize my emotions. Mom was also forced. He coerced her so she doesn't like me. I don't blame her. I'm not sad either. I'm living well now. I have you, loving parents, and a child. I'm very happy. I rambled on, expressing a myriad of thoughts. By the end, my mind felt blank, devoid of any emotion. I merely felt comfortable nestled in Shang Yan's embrace. Drowsiness began to envelop me, and this time, my dreams held no distress, only the gentle smile of Shang Yan. As my pregnancy progressed, my parents became even more anxious than I was. Zhou Huijun hired numerous professionals, eager to stay with me 24 hours a day. Even Shang Yan's father, usually occupied with work, visited me several times. Ultimately, it was Shang Yan who persuaded Zhou Huijun and the others not to worry, leading to the departure of the entire houseful of people. Shang Yan remained the most composed. Yet, occasionally, when I awoke at night, I would catch sight of the bloodshot eyes he wore. I touched his eyelids gently. Why aren't you asleep yet? Shang Yan took my hand and brought it to his lips, affectionately nuzzling it. I'm fine, just go to sleep. I knew he was concerned for me. Every time I stirred in my sleep, he would sit up to check on me. I smiled at him. Did you know? I feel incredibly fortunate to have met you. Shang Yan sighed softly. I find myself somewhat regretful. How I wish I could have bestowed this stroke of fortune upon you sooner. It is not too late now. Thus concludes the narrative. Thank you for your attentive listening. Should you have enjoyed it, please consider subscribing and liking to show your support. Until we meet again in the next tale.